Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I am trying to challenge myself this week. I am feeling a little behind slash just, I guess, not very motivated right now with the middle grade book that I am writing. So, oh, here's my cat trying to get into the video. I decided to do a challenge to replace my screen time today with writing. So when I want to pick up my phone and scroll Instagram reels, I'm going to sit down and write. When I want to, I don't know, sit and watch YouTube videos, I'm going to write. So I already cheated a little bit because when he's trying to mess with my coffee. When I got my coffee, I did watch a YouTube video while I was sipping my coffee, and then I did a little bit of reading, but here on out I am going to focus. I'm going to buckle down. I'm going to start with looking at my notes. I've just been trying to organize myself better and work on my goals, and I think I need to revisit my outline for this book and see. Dickens, stop. Such a curious cat. Those are my bare minimum goals. I'm going to rework the goals that I've set for this fall. I'm going to go back to my outline, review, refresh, rework my outline, and then if there is yet time today, I will continue writing the manuscript. And depending on how it goes today, if I can get a bunch of focused time, I might try this again tomorrow and replace my screen time again. We'll see how this goes. As I was going back through my outline and the notes that I'd already written and whatnot, I realized that I think once again I was falling into the trap of wanting a magical or near magical first draft. I talked about this in another recent video, but I had to catch myself again that I was expecting more from my first draft than I should be, because it is a first draft. It is a work in progress. It's not supposed to be perfect. So going back through my notes, I realized I actually do have a pretty good sketch of what I want to write. I like my outline. There are some more pieces that I need to sort through, but I have some good pieces, and some of those things they'll either be solved as I go, or as I go back through editing, I can edit and add things in later. This is the most detailed outline and notes section that I've had prior to working on individual chapters, so I think this should be easier to go back and edit and change and add things back in later. And because I needed some help being inspired this morning, I pulled out one of my favorite writing reference books, and that is my thesaurus. I absolutely adore this book. I had a copy when I was a kid, and this book, just holding it, smelling it, using it, it just makes me happy. So I spent some time just looking up some words pertaining to my story, just to kind of help get me inspired and excited about words and about my story. And then, because it had been a little while since I had sat down to write, I went through and reread the last section that I wrote to just kind of get back into the swing of things before continuing to write. The last thing I decided to do in this writing session was to send the next section to a couple of my beta readers. It's been a little while since I sent a section, so I keep procrastinating because it is hard for me to do that, but it's time. I'm doing it. Okay, I'm actually super pleased with my progress. Hang on, my cat's in the litter box. Okay, I think I'm going to pause here. I am super pleased with the work that I've gotten done. And I'm definitely going to keep my setup up here so that the next time I want to just scroll or do something mindless, I guess, on a screen, I can come back up here and knock out the next chunk. Hello everyone, I just got an email from the writing contest, and I didn't even think to video before I read it or anything. So I am videoing a little bit. I don't have my stand, and I just put my hand in the screen. Things are just, this is real time. This is real life. I don't have anywhere to, hopefully the video isn't too shaky. Okay, let me just figure out how to hold this. So it still might be a little shaky. I got an email that was from the writing contest people. And I was nervous to open it. So I texted my sister, and she went through it with me, which was very nice. Okay, so winners and finalists will be announced by the end of the month. I still don't expect to win. So this was my critique, and I was so nervous. So I clicked it. It's good. It's good. Okay, so it was just over one page, like a page and a half of critique. And then I read through it, and I was just kind of like, I was so nervous. So I think I'm definitely going to have to, I'm going to have to go through it again and like sit down with my manuscript and, you know, find the things that they're talking about and work through it. Most of it is good. I finished reading through it, and I was like, okay, I'm actually okay. Because I mean, I've never had critique, much less professional critique on anything I've written. So most of it, I was like, okay, I can do this. And then I went through and I read it again, and I was like, oh, ouch. There's a couple really strongly phrased, sorry, I'm like looking over here. I can't even look at the camera. Really strongly phrased pieces of feedback. And so I was kind of waiting to just be super discouraged. And for a second I was. And like, I don't like it. Objectively, I don't know. But also like, it's okay because it's still helpful things to like think through for my story. And they started out, they have a short paragraph, it's 3 sentences, of the strengths of the story. And then they list 6 specific areas that they recommend to work on. Some of it's like grammar or point of view contradictions, things like that. I don't want to, I still haven't said too much, I don't think, on my channel about what the story is about, so I don't want to get like too specific. But a lot of it would be, I feel like, pretty easy to correct and address. And some things I kind of was aware of already, and some things I hadn't really noticed. So I appreciate all of those things. There was one, I had some paragraphs that were too long, and this being a middle grade book, they recommend paragraphs being 3 to 5 sentences. So things like that are just very helpful, especially for my first time writing middle grade. The 2 parts, okay, do I want to put it in the video? It's fine. It's probably fine. It is hard. It's hard. I don't like this. It says, that the sense of voice is strong and engaging, but there's also so much internal contradiction that the reader feels like they have whiplash. Okay. That's probably the worst one. Feels like whiplash. So again, I was texting my sister as I was reading all this and like my initial thoughts and all these things, and she's like, oh, I didn't feel that way like when she was reading it, which is good, and it is helpful. It's helpful to know. It's helpful to keep in mind all the pieces. So like I sent it to my nieces and nephews, and my sister reminded me, like, you know, they're my target audience, which I really do appreciate that reminder. But also having an editor being like, oh, these are the things like from their perspective too that they're seeing. One of the other things that they recommend, it's correlated to the internal contradiction, but it's a bit of a spinoff. So I might talk more about that again in a future video. I'm still absorbing all of it. I'm going to have to really sit down with sorry, I feel like this is probably moving around so much. This is real time. I didn't even go and get my tripod set up for this. So somewhat related to that, I want to sit down with my manuscript, and I only had to submit a portion of it. So I only ended up submitting the first chapter for the contest rules. So I want to sit down specifically with the first chapter, but obviously as I, continue, with the full manuscript, to look through and all of these pieces that they have pointed out. But some of it, I think, first blush after reading it is, but I think that's what I'm going for. I mean, not whiplash. That's not what I'm going for. But one of the things that they point out, they said there's a lot of commentary from the main character, and they suggest taking out a lot of the internal commentary. But I'm like, that was a purposeful choice, that I wanted that perspective. So first blush, I'm like, okay, I don't know. So now anyways, I need to sit down with everything and be like, okay, it's okay to make some choices that one editor may not agree with. but also they see a lot more manuscripts than I do. And so I want to make sure that I'm not being like so stuck in my vision that I can't see what they're saying. But also I don't want to give up something purposeful if it is the route I want to go. The brand new writer in me would have loved maybe more than just 3 sentences of strengths, but it's good. I am so proud of myself, like that I took the step, that I got the critique and the feedback, that I was able to read it, and that I was not, dissolving into tears, that, it was all negative, and being able to see a critique for what it is. Like, and even the whiplash comment that I don't love, like, that's hard to read about my work, all of that, like, they're saying that because they care about my work. And they said at the end, I look forward to seeing your book in print one day. Like, how kind is that? So all of this is feedback for a reason, and so that I can polish up my work. And I'm really appreciative for this person, the time that they put into it, and the opportunity for me to revise my work and to take the feedback and take the critique and be able to use that for my story. So I'm so excited. This is good. So yeah, that's the update. That's the update with a very shaky camera, and half the time I'm not even looking, and yeah, real time. Hello, I am sitting in my car, obviously, and I'm about to go inside a place for breakfast to sit and read, first of all, while I eat, and then after I'm eating, I am going to write, because I've been tired. I don't want to be here today. I don't want to write today. But I need to, and I do want to, I just don't want to. So I was like, the last couple days, I was like, I'll just write at home. I'll keep doing this, replacing my screen time with writing time. But it hasn't happened. It's been a really good week, but it's just been kind of an off week too. So I'm like, I'm just going to go somewhere, because I feel like it would be easier to make myself do it if I go. So I am here. I will write. I will see what I get done. I think I was trying to decide if I wanted to start editing based on the feedback that I got from my critique. Because I don't know if I said this, the contest itself, it specified that it did not need to be a completed manuscript. You just needed the first chapter. So if it was a work in progress, you can still enter the contest, which is what I did. So my question was, do I go start editing based on that feedback, or do I just continue writing? And I decided to just keep on writing the first draft. I would rather have a completed first draft and then go back and edit it all together than get bogged down in the editing now, because my track history with editing has been, for years, decades. That's why I never completed a manuscript, because I would be like, oh, let's start editing, and I would just get caught up in the weeds and the editing and all of that, and I would never make it past, whatever number of chapters. So I am going to continue writing. I think that I am going to ignore the feedback for now, because I don't want that in my head too much. I want to get the first draft down, and then I will go back and do more of those big piece edits and the fine-tooth comb edits, some of the things that they mentioned that were more like grammar, the easy stuff in my opinion. I'll do all of that after. So I'm excited. I'm excited to keep that in mind. They did say, I went back and I reread the email and I reread the critique, and they said, keep in mind that multiple editors are reading every submission to determine the winner. So it's not just based on one editor, which, I would be very surprised if I won. I'm not expecting to win. However, they did say, this critique is just from one editor, and editing is subjective. I think that was a good reminder too. But also, this person is a professional. So I'm like, and this is the first time I've done it. So those of you who have done this more, how do you hold that weight of taking professional feedback and yet knowing that it is one person's feedback, and that they know way more, especially this is my first middle grade, like they know way more. I was a middle grade editor, like they know way more about this genre than I do. But also, if some things at this point, again, I haven't gone back through to edit, maybe I'll be like, oh wow, they were 100% right. I'm totally willing to recognize that. But one of the things specifically, I'm like, I think that that was a choice I made on purpose for the story. How do you hold that? How do you hold that? Because I don't want to just say, well, I'm completely wrong on my story, but also maybe I am, maybe I am. So I don't know. It's a tension I am holding right now. So anyways, okay, I'm going to stop chatting. I'm going to go inside. I'm reading The Woman Who Lied by Claire Douglas. And then I'm going to eat and then drink my coffee while I write. I will report back. Okay, I am back in the car yet again. Oh no, I was gonna video while I was in there. I forgot. I was gonna do some B-roll of me writing. I did not think of it at all. Oh well, I did indeed write though. And usually this place is pretty empty when I come. I mean, I don't come all the time, but every so often I come in the mornings just for breakfast. And usually I'm the only one there, or maybe one other person, but it wasn't full, but there were more people. And so I didn't want to take up a space for a long period of time. But I did get some writing done. Discouraged is not the right word. I was not discouraged, but I was just kind of like, what do I do? So I almost left earlier, and I'm proud of myself that I didn't. And I was like, okay, well, if I'm not feeling writing right now, what can I do? So I started just making a list of questions on that specific chapter, a couple questions like for the general book, like if I'm actually about making some pretty massive structural changes as far as like point of view, making it third person instead of first, things like that. I didn't want to go too much further in the rough draft without figuring that out. Otherwise, I would have to rewrite a lot. That was kind of overwhelming to me. So I was like, okay, in this chapter, what are questions I can ask? How do I want this? Because I was like, I don't really know where to go next. So I was just like, okay, if I know what the next chapter roughly will be about, how do I get from here to there? So I just wrote down bullet points of things that need to happen between these two sections. And then I just kind of started writing some of those scenes. And I'm glad that I did it that way, because then as I was writing, it started to flow and I was like, oh, okay, I am actually arriving here where I want to be. And I do know how to get there. I just needed to slow it down and take it step by step and think through some of these bullet points. So it was good. I didn't write a ton, but I am pleased with my work overall. And I am hoping, we'll have to see. I keep saying this. I'm starting a new job soon, but it's finally on Monday. So after Monday, I'll start to know more of what my schedule will look like. So I'm hoping that if I have a day off and my kids are in school, if I can come even just for like an hour, even just for 45 minutes and get some work done on those days that I'm off, I think that will be really good. I think that will be great for my story. I think that will be great for my habits. And I think that will be just really good momentum to keep going. So yeah, that's the update for that. Earlier today, I panicked because I couldn't find the first section of footage that I had filmed, and I thought that I lost it, but thankfully I found it because that would have been very sad. So my footage was saved. Now I can start editing. So this challenge did not shape up exactly the way that I pictured. I'd envisioned anytime I'm like, oh, I want to scroll Instagram or I'm gonna XYZ, I'm just gonna hop on my computer and write. Instead, it didn't end up working that way. Plus, I feel like as I was going, I was like, I don't think that would really help my creative process, because sometimes I'm scrolling Instagram when I literally have 30 seconds before I need to do the next thing, and I wouldn't get much done going to write for 30 seconds. But I was really glad just for the reminder to write intentionally, and specifically in relation to my screen time, even especially if it was going to be like mindless screen time, like, Instagram, or if it was going to be even something productive like YouTube or watching videos or commenting or whatever, even productive things. Like I think sometimes I procrastinate something that I should be doing with other things that are productive so that it feels not as procrastination-y. That's not a word, but sure. Anyways, so I am glad I did this challenge, and I am hoping to take this momentum further and remind myself like, oh, here I am doing XYZ. I don't actually need to be doing this right now. Let's spend some time writing. So I think that was really good. I definitely got some good chunks of writing done. I definitely got a lot of clarification on my vision and where I want to go in the book, and just spending a lot of time thinking. It's kind of funny how much time is just spent thinking as a writer and just recalibrating my thoughts. And plus, in the middle of it all, I got the email with the critique from my story submission. I'm really excited for when I get to the editing stage and I'm able to start piecing some more of those things together, rework some things, and yeah, just being very mindful of the feedback that they gave me. I will keep you updated on this project, and in the fall, I'm going to be spending a lot more time aggressively editing my manuscript from last National Novel Writing Month. So stay tuned for that as well. And until next time, happy writing.